It took Gabriel and the 12 fighters Rowan had assigned him a day's ride on horseback to arrive at the southern mountain ranges. When they arrived, the mountain range was swarming with other clan folk. Gabriel frowned. With crystals being the main form of currency in Valandra, it was only natural for clans and tribes to fight for the right to mine them when a mine opened up. But people typically only traveled and battled for mines that appeared within their local. This time, however, it seemed like every faction of Valandra came to stake their claim. Could we be looking at more than just a crystal mine? Gabriel thought aloud to his fellow clanfolk. He heard one of them gasp excitedly at the idea. You mean a crystal vein? That would mean a continuous stream of crystals. The Yamato clan has never come close to securing a vein. If we could somehow score this, our clan's wealth and power would increase at least 100-fold. Look, another one of Gabriel's men exclaimed, pointing at the sky. Blazing steeds. Gabriel looked up to see 10 horses covered in flames burst through the clouds, pulling an ornate carriage. On the carriage was the unmistakable crest of the Riker clan, one of the great clans of Valandra. Riding on the tail of the carriage was an army of guards on blazing steeds. Gabriel marveled at the sight. Blazing steeds were expensive, but more than that, riding a blazing steed required a high level of sun-blessed ability. To have an entire army of fighters who were sun saints at the minimum was a terrifying display of power. A middle-aged man rode to the forefront and addressed the masses beneath him. The southern mountain range is now under the jurisdiction of the 3 great clans, he declared. At that moment, flags bearing the crests of the great clans Riker, Zaruhi, and Saxon unfolded and hovered menacingly in the sky, as if marking their territory. Those still found to be idling in Great Clan jurisdiction in a quarter of an hour will be eliminated. Gabriel gritted his teeth at the declaration. The Great Clan's actions represented all that was wrong with Valandra. The rich and powerful could hoard the best resources as they saw fit, so that they could continue to grow stronger, while the rest of the nation was left to fight for the leftovers. It made it difficult for the weaker clans and tribes to thrive. What do we do, Gabriel? One of his men asked him. Gabriel sighed in resignation. As much as he loathed giving in to the great clans, he was at present no match for them. He wasn't about to put his clanfolk at risk either. We do as they say. Gabriel turned his horse around, ready to return to Haleth and the Yamato clan empty-handed. But before he could scarcely take a few strides, the carriage pulled by 10 blazing steeds plunged from the sky and stopped right in front of him, blocking his pathway. Whoa! He calmed his horse, pulling on its reins. The carriage door swung open to reveal 2 young women. One of them had a pale face with dark brown eyes and long blonde hair tied back in a braid. The other had tanned olive skin with green eyes and red tribal markings on her face. Are you Gabriel from the Yamato clan of Haleth? The green-eyed woman asked curiously. She was extremely beautiful, but more attractive to Gabriel was the sense that she possessed extraordinary power. Gabriel was stumped for a moment, but eventually responded. I am. Well, what are you waiting for? Do you want to see what's in the mountain or not? The blonde-haired girl asked impatiently, before gesturing for him to get into the carriage. He desperately wanted to go, but the situation seemed too good to be true. He looked back to his clanfolk who stared back at him wide-eyed. That's Jing Riker, one of them hissed to him. She's the heir of the Riker clan. And that's Inya Nala, another whispered, referring to the green-eyed girl. Your fiancé. She probably got Riker to invite you. Go! Gabriel's eyes practically bulged from their sockets before he scrambled off his horse to get into the carriage. Go ahead to Haleth, he instructed his comrades. I'll find my way back. The moment Gabriel closed the door behind him, the carriage shot back into the sky. Jing Riker. The blonde-haired woman introduced herself. Gabriel. He nodded in reply. Thanks for the invitation. Jing shrugged. I'm only doing it because Inya asked. She wanted to meet her betrothed. It was only now that Gabriel turned to Inya Nala, regarding her curiously. She looked at him shyly. I heard you won the challenge for Clan Heir. I did, Gabriel confirmed, meeting her gaze. They both knew what it meant. At some point down the line, the Yamato clan and the Nala tribe would marry them. He'd always known that as Clan Heir, he'd be married off the daughter of the Nala tribe chief. But the thought of marriage had always seemed like an abstract notion. Now that Inya Nala was in front of him in the flesh, the prospect felt like a real possibility. And Gabriel was surprised to find that he didn't detest the idea. "We're here," Jing exclaimed, looking out the window. Beneath them, a cave on the mountain side glowed with dazzling green, purple, and gold hues. 2 others stood at the cave entrance waiting for them as they stepped out of the carriage. "What took you so long?" a young man with greasy slicked back hair demanded. "And who are these people, Jing?" Next to him, a young woman with mousy features and a pixie haircut stood quietly observing the newcomers. "Simmer down, Levi," Jing replied, rolling her eyes. "This is Inya Nala from the Nala tribe of the Sunsalt Flats. She's Mistress Faye's prodigy at the Southern Academy and a friend, and this is Gabriel from the Yamato clan of Haleth, her fiancé." Levi's expression morphed into one of interest. He approached Inya. "You're Mistress Faye's prized pupil? Everyone's heard about you and your divine technique. You must demonstrate it to me sometime." "I'm Levi, of the Zerohi clan." He boldly grasped her hand and brought it to his lips. Gabriel frowned at the blatant disrespect. Jing had clearly said that he was Inya's fiancé, and yet the man was flirting with her right in front of him. Inya extracted her hand from Levi's and offered him the barest nod in return. "Pleased to meet you," she replied coolly. Levi's gaze lingered on Inya, clearly appreciating her beauty, before turning to Gabriel. "Daybringer. No, Pyre Lord," he guessed, condescension obvious in his tone. It was extremely rude in Valandra to ask about one's sun-blessed level. It seemed that money and power didn't equate to class, after all. "Pyre Lord," Gabriel confirmed curtly. "Not bad for a Haleth boy," Jing remarked, sounding impressed. Gabriel bristled at the implied insult to his clan's standards. "You are probably quite advanced where you're from, but in the capital, you'd be quite ordinary," she continued. "Jing," the pixie-haired girl suddenly interjected, shooting her friend a stern look before turning her attention to the newcomers. "I'm Quinn, of the Saxon clan. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. Should we head into the cave?" The colorful glow emanating from within provided them with sufficient light to find their way around the cave. Levi led the group, with Jing and Quinn following closely behind. Gabriel and Inya trailed in the back. They traversed the cave, meandering through the rock corridors. "I'm sorry about Jing," Inya whispered softly to him. "She can be socially inept sometimes. Has been since I first met her at the academy." Gabriel shrugged it off. "I've heard worse." After an awkward lull, Inya spoke again. "I take it your sun-blessed abilities have returned?" she asked lightly. Although her tone was light, Gabriel sensed her immense curiosity. "Would it be a problem if they haven't?" "Not for me," Inya replied truthfully. Then her lips curled into a teasing smile. "I'm a strong enough fighter for us both." Gabriel let out a laugh at her boldness. "How is it we haven't met until today?" Inya shrugged, a mischievous twinkle in her eye. "Guess I've been busy." Just as Gabriel was about to respond to her joke, they heard Levi's voice echo through the cave. "I found them!" Following the others into a spacious cavern, Gabriel's eyes went wide. Countless purple crystals studded the walls, radiating a dazzling violet light. In all his years fighting for crystal mines, he'd only come across a handful of purple crystals. They were far less common than regular crystals and infinitely more precious. Even just a few of these crystals would help the Yamato clan equip itself with better sun-blessed tools, training manuals, and skills. "These are massive," Jing breathed, prying a crystal from the wall. She turned it admiringly in her hand, mesmerized by its glow. "There must be a crystal vein nearby," Levi deduced. "There's no way they'd be this big without an energy source." "Let's split this haul and continue our search," Jing replied excitedly, waving a hand across the cavern. The purple crystals dislodged from the rock walls and floated toward each of them in 5 equal parts. Gabriel retrieved a treasury ring from his pocket and activated it to collect the crystals. He watched as Inya did the same, but he couldn't help but notice the look of trepidation on her face. As Jing led the group deeper into the cave, Eager to find the source of the crystals, Gabriel sensed a mounting tension between the heirs to the great clans. Hanging further back to ensure the others couldn't hear them, he turned to Inya. "Do you feel it too?" She nodded at him and whispered, "Each of those great clans own a crystal vein. It's given them the resources to climb to the levels of influence and power they have today. If what we find really is a vein, the clan who obtains it will far surpass the others. I worry this is going to end in a bloodbath." Gabriel had never been interested in Valandran politics, focusing instead on improving his sun-blessed abilities, helping the Yamato clan conquer mines, and winning their small battles with surrounding clans. But he got the sense now that if he was going to really help his clan thrive, getting involved in alliances and power plays might be unavoidable. "Stay close," Gabriel told Inya, "so that you can protect me," he added after a moment, drawing a giggle from her. Inya was a sun saint, one level above him in her sun-blessed abilities, and he was sure that she could defend herself. But he couldn't help the feeling of wanting to protect her. Suddenly, Inya grabbed his forearm, cautioning him to slow down. Only then did Gabriel notice that the trio ahead of them had grown quiet. They proceeded cautiously and soon came upon an even larger cavern than the one they were in before. Jing stood with her back toward them, and the other two wore indecipherable expressions on their faces. "What's going on?" Inya asked her friend, keeping the worriness she felt out of her tone. Jing turned around slowly. In her hand was a gleaming gold crystal. "There are gold crystals buried in the ground," she said, her voice trembling in excitement and dread. "There's definitely a crystal vein." There was a violent gust of wind as Levi summoned his powers to his fists. "I don't think we can let the both of you leave this cave knowing that there are crystal veins here."